I think they think it might be the beginning of the end for the regime. And so they're trying to save themselves at the moment. I know that yesterday there was a report, I'm not sure how accurate it was, that some senior Iranians were basically leaving the country and going to Moscow and getting secret flights to Moscow. So we really don't know how the regime is holding up.
Conflict between Iran and Israel. We said 5 people had died in Israel. That number's just been updated. Emergency services in Israel say 8 people have now been killed overnight by Iranian attacks. The Times correspondent in Tel Aviv, Gabriel Weiniger, described to us how the city had been transformed, with residents shocked by the deaths and the damage and unable to sleep because of air raids. Mohammed Morandi, professor of English literature at the University of Tehran, told us that Iran didn't want a nuclear weapon and had been refining uranium purely as leverage in negotiations. Fleur Hassan-Nahoum is Israel's Special Envoy and former Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, and she joins us now. Fleur, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Your reaction to the attacks overnight?
Well, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of innocent people overnight in attacks at major civilian centres of the country. There's tens of people injured, and for the moment we know of 5 people who have died.
Are you worried that so many missiles are getting through, or is that, I mean, the Iron Dome's never been perfect, but we're hearing that Iran has the capacity to send thousands more missiles over the next few days. Are you concerned that so many are getting through?
Well, I think that in terms of percentages, and I know it's difficult to talk about percentages when you're talking about people's lives, but it's still holding strong at 90% interception rate, which is really what the Iron Dome always said it was to do. Last April, when Iran attacked us, April 2024, overnight, we had 99% interception. And in September, we also had really high numbers like that. So I guess we got lulled into a false sense of security that somehow we could repel every single missile. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And if we couldn't repel 90%, you can imagine the devastation that would be befalling on Israel right now.
There are reports that Britain is not expected to supply air support in these attacks in the way it was willing to offer that in previous attacks. Is that a problem, do you think?
Well, I don't think it's a problem at the moment. We are fighting a war against the dark forces of Islamic fundamentalism that is going to be a threat to the world, and we're doing this alone. We have some defense support from the United States. And, you know, ultimately we have an existential threat, people who have said many times they're going to wipe us off the map and have been building weapons of mass destruction in order to do it. So we had no choice, and we will fight. And if we have to fight alone, we will.
Do you think Britain should be offering support? Do you think that you're fighting
absolutely.
a war?
Absolutely. Imagine this was the 1930s, and Israel is Churchill at the moment, telling the whole world, listen, Hitler is an existential threat to the whole world. That's where we're at right now. And at the moment, everybody is just waiting to see what happens.
Do you think Britain should be more supportive then?
Well, absolutely. I think this Islamic threat threatens the world, and everybody just sat by and did diplomatic grandstands, but nobody has done anything. The nuclear threat was never either pushed back or eliminated. And the nuclear threat is only a threat for Israel in the short term. In the long term, the nuclear threat from Iran is a threat to the world.
Did you attack because you thought Iran was posing a threat to use nuclear capabilities now? Was it a clear and pressing danger? Because the reporting seems to suggest they've not got up to the requisite levels of uranium enrichment to have a nuclear bomb. Why now? Why now?
Well, the military experts are saying that there was actually a lot of activity in the last few months that did point to them getting into enrichment of uranium to weapons-grade uranium. So that was the intelligence that Israel had. We've been warning the world for 10, 15 years about this, and we believe that they got to the point we needed to destroy it before they got to the point of no return, because the point of no return of a nuclear Iran is a countdown for destruction for the state of Israel.
Are you aiming for regime change within Iran?
Well, nobody's saying that out loud, but I think 80% of the Iranian population in Iran would love regime change. Certainly the majority of the Iranian diaspora that had to run away from the country want regime change. And I think that the world would be a better place if Iran was a free and democratic society. So I think that ultimately it would be best for the world if there was regime change.
There are reports that Donald Trump vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate the Ayatollah. assassinating the Ayatollah would be one way of affecting regime change. Is that something that Israel was intending? And is it in Donald Trump's place, right, ability to veto it?
I have no idea whether that's what we were attempting. We certainly got rid of the entire Air Force, the head of intelligence, and many other hugely senior people. The Prime Minister Netanyahu denied that Trump vetoed the Khamenei assassination. If that in case was the plan, I'm not privy to that type of confidential information.
Trump says he wants a deal between Iran and Israel. Is that possible, do you think?
I see it hard to do a deal now when we're in all-out war, but I know that Iran is begging for mediators because I think they think it might be the beginning of the end for the regime, and so they're trying to save themselves at the moment. I know that yesterday there was a report, I'm not sure how accurate it was, that some senior Iranians were basically leaving the country and going to Moscow and getting secret flights to Moscow. So we really don't know how the regime is holding up. I know that Khamenei, who's a keen Xer, he likes to tweet. He hasn't been tweeting for 20 hours. So we really don't know exactly what's going on. But I believe this could be the beginning of the end. And this regime that has been repressing their own people for 40 years, killing its women for not covering their hair, hanging homosexuals from cranes to show the world these are not good people. We're fighting the worst of the worst, and we're doing it, of course, for our own existential status, but we're also doing it for the world.
Do you think you stand alone because of the conduct in Gaza? Do you think that people are struggling to draw a distinction between Israel's conduct in attacking Iran and Israel's conduct in how it's pursued the war in Gaza, and actually the manner of that, the conduct of that war has actually lost Israeli friends across the world stage?
It could be that you're right. It could be that the fatigue of the world of a year and a half of a war that we didn't want started with a massacre against our people. And people are, they don't want to come out.
It's more than fatigue. I think, Fleur, it's more than fatigue. It's outright condemnation, sort of moral repugnance that you now hear more towards Israel.
I love the moral narcissism of many of our critics. They have double standards and they decide that this is going to be the hill that they die on when there are so many other worse places doing so much worse things. And again, I repeat, we didn't start the war. It started with a massacre against our people and we still have 20 hostages there. But what I want to say is that what people don't seem to realize is that it's all connected, because the 7th of October was funded by the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's just, we know that they were trained, they were funded, they knew about it, and this was part of a much bigger plot. And the plot was, and Iran always wanted to keep themselves out of it, they didn't want to get their hands dirty, they built a ring around Israel of enemy proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis, and that was always their plan. And this is the first time they've had to confront what they have created in front of them.
Fleur, good to speak to you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
That's Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, the Israel Special Envoy, former Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem.